Hi, my name's Anita Drossis, and I'm the project manager from Learning Connections. Today I have the pleasure to sit down and chat with Nogah from the I Think initiative at Rotman. Hi Nogah, how are you?
Wonderful. Yourself?
I'm good. Could you tell us a bit about yourself, please?
So I'm the Associate Director of the I Think initiative at the Rotman School of Management. And what that means is that I spend most of my time working with teachers and leaders in education to reimagine what's possible in the classroom.
Excellent. And I know that you're involved with the Integrative Thinking program. Could you tell us the story about how that came about?
So Integrative Thinking came out of an insight. Roger Martin, who wrote the book The Opposable Mind, which is about integrative thinking, Roger, in his consulting career, came across two very different situations. One was a lawyer who was heading up a corporate law firm. The second situation was actually the head of an elementary school, a progressive elementary school. And in both cases, the leadership was stepping down. And he was asked to come in to figure out, how do these people do what they do, the magic of it? And what surprised him is that across very different contexts, the way they thought through their challenges was fundamentally the same. And he wondered if this was true not just for the two of them, but for leaders across sectors. And so in interviewing over 50 leaders, came to the insight of integrative thinking, which is that tension actually can lead to innovation.
So what really is integrative thinking?
So the textbook definition of integrative thinking is the ability to face constructively the tension of opposing models, and instead of choosing one at the expense of the other, is to generate a creative resolution of the tension in the form of a new model that contains elements of the individual models but is superior to each.
So what does that look like?
What does it mean?
What does that mean?
Really what it means is that when you're faced with a decision and you have option A in front of you and option B, oftentimes we've been taught that maybe what we need to do is compromise, or we need to negotiate, or that fundamentally we have to choose between what's in front of us. And the insight that Roger saw is that the leaders he talked to took the best of A, took the best of B, and used that to create their better answer of C. And so integrative thinking is fundamentally about not choosing between options, but using those as your basis to create a third and better way forward.
And so this could be used anywhere, really.
One of the most wonderful things we've seen is teachers who come to our workshops, leave, use integrative thinking in their personal lives,
there you go,
realize how useful it is, and that's why they choose to use it with their students.
But so those teachers in the classroom then, how did they take the two together in terms of, you know, there's this real push for 21st century learning and modern learning, and this new innovative way of thinking and teaching and learning in the classroom, and how does that sort of meld together with integrative thinking?
So for us, what we see is that 21st century learning is fundamentally about reimagining the kind of citizens we want in our society. And integrative thinking says that we need citizens who can think through these wicked, messy problems that have no right answers. And so for us, integrative thinking is a toolbox and a mindset for 21st century citizens to be able to make society better.
So is it the teachers using it or students?
Both. So what we do is we work with teachers so that they can bring it into their classrooms.
Right.
And so part of it is the teacher understanding the tools, knowing the tools, and feeling comfortable to bring them into their classroom so their students can have a different kind of experience in the classroom.
And then what was this experience for the students? Like, what was their insight? What do students say when they go through this process?
One of the things that is one of my favorite parts of the year is at the end of every school year, we go in and we talk to students and teachers, asking them what's been the most significant change you've seen in yourself as a result of doing work with integrative thinking. And students as a whole start to realize that their voice and their ideas matter, and that they can shape their understanding of the world. And what that's done is there's this wonderful theme of confidence, that students get more and more confident in their own ideas and in their ability to share it. But I think what's most important is it's not only the students' mindset that's changing, is we're seeing that mindset reflect in their behavior. So one example is we had a grade 12 student. They took a course in integrative thinking at their high school. And at the end of the school year, when we were having this conversation with him, this particular student said this: "Before, I was one of those guys. Like, when I came up with one idea, like a conclusion, I'll just stick with it. I was just too stubborn to change it. That's the answer. I'm sticking with it. Now I'll double check and make sure that I can make it better, make sure that my final answer is correct. And when I read my short answer, Like I write with pencil. So I just write something that first comes to mind, and then I read it over again, and it just continues flowing. Like I expand and I erase, and my answers just keep getting better and better throughout. I used to write everything with pen before, but I started writing in pencil.
So that's really interesting, and I'm wondering, is that a sort of thing that you see with other students or other people that you work with in integrative thinking?
Very much so. We definitely see this theme of students who are shifting their mindset and shifting their behavior, but what's wonderful is also hearing from teachers and leadership and how integrative thinking is helping them behave differently. And one of my favorites came from a vice principal who we worked with who said that the integrative thinking tools, it's impossible to use them with the same mindset that I had before. And so it forces a new mindset in what problem solving can be.
Well, that's excellent. Thank you so much for sharing, Nogah, and I look forward to learning more about integrative thinking and what you have to share with us.
Wonderful.